We got Dragon Ball Super. We got One Piece. We got NBA. We got White Man Dan. And we got video game shit. This is the Expansion Pack. All right, guys, so welcome to the Expansion Pack, first ever inaugural episode. So to the right, we have Jordan Banks. He is our Dragon Ball Super analyst, and he's also our halfway sports moderator because I don't think he knows shit about that. Yeah,
it's a little rough this year.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. And then on our left, we have Swims right here. Swims is going to be our sports analyst as well as our Dragon Ball Super analyst. So fellas, let's go ahead and get started with an overview as far as what is Super. Let's go over that because a lot of people don't know what Super is.
What is Super?
Right.
All right,
okay.
Swims, you go ahead and start it off.
All right, so Dragon Ball Super is the anime that takes place kind of in between Dragon Ball Z. So for people who may not know, the last arc of Dragon Ball Z, they took out a character named Majin Buu. And between that episode and the actual ending of the show, there was a 10-year gap. Dragon Ball Super takes place 2 years within that gap. So within that gap, we've been introduced to other characters, gods of destruction, different universes, other Saiyans.
There's a lot of things going on.
A lot of stuff happens. So we first off, we meet a god of destruction named Beerus. He comes over, beats Goku, beats Vegeta, beats everybody in the series. At that point, he then takes on Goku and Vegeta as prodigies. They work with him. At that point, Frieza from Dragon Ball Z makes a comeback. He trains up, gets a lot stronger. We're introduced to two more Saiyan transformations in Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, but
they're pretty lazy looking.
Right, they're pretty lazy looking, but we call them the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is just Super Saiyan Blue, which is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And we also got a callback to Trunks from the Dragon Ball Z series as well. So as of now, they have now segued into a different arc where it's a universal survival. So what happens is that, as I mentioned earlier, there are a bunch of other universes. Well, the weaker ones have all been pulled together into a whole tournament that will then decide who survives. So there were 8 different universes. The universe that wins, they don't get erased. The other 7 do get erased. So as you know, since we watch Dragon Ball,
so there's some stakes. There's stakes on the line.
There's
that's
high
fucked up.
Yeah, there's some high stakes. So,
okay.
But as you know, since we watch our main characters, they're not going to get killed immediately. So as of right now, they're getting there. So as of right now, there's only 2 universes left. There's the universe that we watch, which is Universe 7, and there's another universe, I believe it's 11.
Yeah.
With a few other participants, and those are the only 2 universes left. Everybody else has been killed.
So this has basically been like the whole year for 2017, which is this arc, right? And right now, you know, what me and Swims are going to be talking about is 2017 because that we're going to talk about what made 2017 better. Super has been kind of trashy. It's not even close to Dragon Ball Z right now.
Super is not as, and I think that has to do with the creator. I think Toriyama, I don't even think that guy remembers what he ate for breakfast. Like he doesn't remember things, and then it's like everything that he built up during Dragon Ball Z gets pushed back in Super because somebody will have some dumb transformation, and Goku. Everything we loved about Goku and Dragon Ball Z almost
he's an idiot.
He's
an idiot now.
So the question for the people that don't necessarily watch Super that intently, why do people not like Super? What is there to not like about Super? Why is Super different from Z?
Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's the consistency. Consistency is key. In Dragon Ball Z, you had Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. When they went into that next level, you knew they were going to win the fight. And Dragon Ball Super, that doesn't mean anything. Like, almost everything's become irrelevant that Z is set up for it consistency-wise in the series.
Like Universe 6 is the parallel universe to Universe 7, so they also have Saiyans. Do you guys remember how big of an accomplishment it was when Goku went Super Saiyan, having fought on Namek? Krillin died. He was intensely mad. He had trained at 100 times gravity before he went Super Saiyan.
Took 5 episodes.
Exactly. But it was a big deal. Gohan going Super Saiyan 2, literally pushed to the brink of madness, seeing all of his friends get nearly killed. It's a big moment. In Universe 6, oh my God, literally in the show, one of their explanations for going Super Saiyan was a tingly back sensation. What?
What happened to the whole you have to be pushed to the brink of
pain
rage,
of loss,
the pain
all
of
that other stuff? Literally, the Universe 6 fans were like, actually, I feel like there's this strong tingly back thing that happens, and they literally went off that and went Super Saiyan, and then within 5 to 10 minutes went Super Saiyan 2.
You know what blows my mind? What blows my mind about that? In the first one, it took Goku 5 episodes to charge up to become Super Saiyan. Literally 5 episodes. In this next thing, it took them 5 minutes. Once they found out what Super Saiyan was.
Mind you, the other universes that we're talking about didn't even know what Super Saiyan was. They didn't even know it existed. Literally, they saw Vegeta do it. One guy copied it. Which at that point, when he went Super Saiyan, I actually wasn't too upset about that. But then he took it back to his universe and showed it to these female Super Saiyans, which we have female Super Saiyans now. Which I wouldn't have a problem with them if they didn't just get it so easily.
What's the college thing rule? College rule again? You have to have the equal number of
Title IX.
Title IX. Hey, Title IX Super Saiyan.
It is just terrible.
All right. But anyway, why don't we get to the main point of discussion? What made 2017 good to you, Swim?
Right. So I think 2017, in my opinion, was the best year of Super. I think we both agree on that. I think what made 2017 the best year in Super were 2 things: the introduction of the character Jiren in the Tournament of Power, and also the animation. So you and I disagree on the animation, but I think we both agree
the animation is bad.
Yeah, I think we both agree that Jiren is arguably one of the best things in the entire Dragon Ball franchise.
I will agree with you on that one. So Jiren is this big swole-looking guy, and he comes in. First scene we see him is he sneaks up on Goku. Yeah. That's never happened before.
Goku literally does this nice little "Hi, I'm Goku" shit, and
he's like, "Get out of here!"
Jiren literally gets behind him. Goku didn't even notice. Was like, "Get your bitch ass out of here!" Like, it was crazy. So
and then my thing that I think is the best is the Ultra Instinct. So Ultra Instinct is this thing now because power levels don't mean anything. We kind of knew that from Dragon Ball Z, but
it got worse in Super.
Now it's more about how you fight, not about how strong you are.
Right.
So Ultra Instinct, you basically are just moving. You know, you don't have to think about dodging a punch. You just dodge the punch.
Right. It's a transformation that literally is independent of the mind.
It's really dumb.
That sounds fool as hell.
It's
like,
cool.
It's
really cool looking, but it just doesn't make sense with Dragon Ball Z logic. I don't know why.
I don't have a problem with it because it's saying letting your body, instead of like thinking about throwing a punch and thinking about blocking and doing all that, it's literally your body reacting on its own, which cuts down on time.
Me being the person that's only watching the dubs because I refuse to watch the subs of that
I don't blame you for that one.
Fair enough.
That sounds fool as hell. Because even when Goku was fighting, who's the last guy he was fighting inside that first tournament?
Oh, Hit?
When he was fighting Hit, like, that shit got really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
So what you're saying now sounds like that shit times 10.
A little bit.
It sounds dumber.
You have to make a lot of exceptions for this universal tournament. Like, we're not lying when we're making.
So that brings us to this question here.
Okay.
Why, if Super has all of these weird little things, also in addition to that, I liked filler. Super doesn't have any filler. It's like watching a brand new episode of Dragon Ball Z Kai.
I mean, there's a little bit of filler, but
it's not really filler
It's
in
not.
there.
Like,
But aside from that, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Aside from that, though, why are we still watching Super? Why should people, if you haven't watched Super and you heard shitty things about Super, why should we watch Super?
So I personally, at this point, I still watch Super because I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. Like, I have to know what happens to Goku. Like, I have to know what's going on with Goku and Vegeta. You have to know what's going on with your characters from Dragon Ball Z because you care about them.
It's a childhood
With
thing.
that being said, like, you remember, like, I remember a few years ago when we watched the Goku versus Superman fight on Death Battle, and I was pretty pissed when I first saw it because I'm like, man, Goku a dog Superman. Like, Super makes it to the point where it's like, no, he won't. Like, Goku would get beat almost instantaneously because of the stupidity that he has. He's just
he got his ass beat twice.
Twice. Once he loses the second time, it's over.
But you know what makes up for that though? Vegeta kind of he kind of undefeated right now, but Goku got his ass stomped the fuck out.
Vegeta's been one of the best fighters in Super. He's one of the shining things.
Until his ass gets too high by the fucking robot, and the robot was beating his ass.
That too.
But even when Vegeta is getting his ass kicked and Goku comes in, like, because in Super that still happens because it's Dragon Ball
also
Z.
Hit beat the brakes off his ass.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But even with that, like, Vegeta always pushes himself to a higher level to be able to kind of catch Goku, and I think even in what we're seeing in 2018, I think Vegeta is going to get to a point where whether or not, however, surpass Goku is, probably not going to happen because Toriyama hates Vegeta, but like, he's going to be much more important in the future. And I think he's already been important now. I mean, let's be honest. Like, Super, if your name's not Goku and Vegeta, who are you fighting? Like, what are you going to do? What do you do?
Just sit on the sideline.
Like, just sit down and hope that the fight.
Jordan, why are we still watching Super?
Why we're watching Super is because it gets off your childhood. So you're sitting there like Swim said, let me see. But you're waiting. What Super's doing is it's building up these fights. You want to see one last great, Dragon Ball Z fight. You want to see one last one. And Super, I will say this, shining note, Goku versus Jiren, if you haven't seen it, see it, because that is one of the best fights in Dragon Ball Z, like, history.
See, y'all doing that young man talking shit, but I'm gonna let y'all ride.
No.
So the thing is, really. So we're still gonna watch Super. I'm not gonna watch any subs because I don't feel like hearing bitch talking Goku.
Yo, man, it's so bad. It's so bad.
No, but I can't express that point enough. The Jiren versus Goku fight, arguably, is I would say is the best. I would say it's the best anime fight of 2017.
Fuck you guys. That's a debate for later. I'm gonna be here like 5 weeks later. 5 weeks later. Oh my god, it was the best fight ever. Nah, fuck y'all for right now though.
We'll expand on that later.
Goodbye. All right, guys, welcome back. We still have Steph Curry lookalike right here. We got a new guy right here. This is Roy. He is our One Piece analyst, and he is also our head debater.
That just means I like to disagree with things.
Yeah, he likes to argue with people about dumb shit. Okay, so we're going to move over to One Piece now. So same shit, just we need a overview for One Piece. We don't got to get super in-depth, but just break into what 2017 brought One Piece.
All right, so it'll be a quick kind of overview, just really bit focused on the topic. But One Piece happens to be probably one of my favorite mangas ever. Not a huge fan of the anime, but that's a discussion for later. So essentially, it's based on a world where it's really pirates are the thing to do, or you're the guys who catch the pirates. They tend to have kind of the most lavish lifestyle. So it's really focused on kind of these fruits. They call them devil fruits that give different people powers. The trade-off is you can't swim, but on the other hand, some people gain
cool powers.
Yeah,
real
like
cool powers.
Some people gain properties of fire. You become a rubber person. You can be chopped up into a whole bunch of pieces. So essentially, really, your imagination is the extent to which the powers can kind of take to you. And the main character of the show, Luffy, when he was younger, ate a fruit that kind of gave him rubber powers. So he can stretch. and do all of that stuff.
Now it sounds really dumb, but it trust me, it works. It works really well.
Yes, the writer did a great job in having elasticity a power that you would choose over anything, and
You don't understand.
and that really speaks to the strength of really the writer and also kind of the manga in and of itself, because it does a really good job of being creative in making almost any power just seem desirable.
And just to piggyback off that real quick, one fact I want to drop is I think One Piece is the third highest selling comic book / manga of all time, and it's only second to Superman and Batman, and those have been around since what, the 20s?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. One Piece has been around for 20 years, and it's there.
So Jordan, give me a recap of 2017 for One Piece.
Okay, so basically, right, in this world, there's 4 main pirates that basically run stuff. They're the Yonko, or the emperors. So right now where we're at is our main character, Luffy. He's in a territory of a Yonko named Big Mom. He's trying to get one of his crewmates back, who's kind of been tricked into getting married, but he doesn't want to endanger his crew. So now they're scheming, trying to take out Big Mom while they're there, because why not? That's how One Piece is. We're going to get things done while we're there. So
Yeah, pretty much the running joke is, if they directly tell you the plan,
it never goes that way.
it's not going to happen.
All right, so Roy felt passionate about passionate enough to bring this up. So you're saying that there's power drawbacks.
Yes.
There's not power drawbacks,
Yes.
or whatever the fuck you're talking
So
about.
one thing.
First, please explain what the fuck is a power drawback.
Yes. So kind of going back, since they were talking about Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super previously, a lot of times when the creator or whoever will introduce a really strong power, they'll introduce a mechanic that then kind of brings it back in. So when Goku first went Super Saiyan, or anyone first went Super Saiyan, the stress on their body was too much. So when they first acquired the ability, they weren't able to use it to the fullest extent. So maybe their opponent was really strong, so that ability they got made them stronger than their opponent now. But now they had the drawback that it was really, really stressful. So over time, the longer that fight continued, they get worn down more and more and more. And over time, the character can then train to kind of rein in those drawbacks. So eventually Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, whoever, they can stay in Super Saiyan indefinitely.
So how does this affect One Piece?
So now moving into One Piece, we've already talked about the different powers. So so someone like a fire type, there's 3 main classifications. There's Paramecia, there's Zoan, which is pretty much animal. Paramecia is just really anything, and then there's Logia, which tends to be elemental. Logias are considered the most powerful because when they're in the element, you can't touch them. Like if you try and fight someone who ate a fire or a smoke thing, like you'll literally just phase through them. Mm-hmm. You can't do anything with them.
And they address that, but that's a whole nother story.
Exactly. And so Paramecia, which literally is anything. Paramecia is just another word for just saying any type of power that isn't an animal or isn't an element. So the main drawback is that in the Paramecia type, you have to eventually learn abilities to allow you to fight against Logia type. And so when we come back to our main character, Luffy, he finds ways to continue increasing his strength through something that Oda calls gears. So in the first one, he does a thing where he pumps his body really, really fast, increasing his heart rate and everything, increasing his speed. You know, another one is since he is rubber, it literally altered his cellular
makeup,
structure. So his bones are also a type of rubber. So he blows into his bone, turning it into a much, much larger thing.
That was some freaky shit.
It sounds lame, but it's really, really cool. You really need to read it to see it. But essentially what that allows him is to make a body part of him really huge. But the drawback to that then is he turned into a tiny version of himself for a set period of time. So essentially what Oda did is that he has a lot of drawbacks to Luffy's powers to checkpoint him so he doesn't become too strong. My opinions is that when you look at it on his opponents, a lot of the other guys don't have similar checkpoints.
Yeah, and this is where we disagree, because I feel like in a good story, you have to have drawbacks. You have to have hurdles for the main character to overcome. I see where you're coming from, saying it's kind of pointless because no one else goes through that. I get it, but like I think it makes more sense and it makes the character smarter in
So
battle.
a question to both of you guys. So hopefully people know what the fuck One Piece is, but One Punch Man. But One Punch Man literally doesn't have any drawbacks to anything. So how do you feel about that?
So
In regards to this.
exactly, and that's the beauty of it. I think we can do drawbacks in different ways. I think One Piece does it really one-dimensionally, where it's only their main character who gets the bulk of it. If you go through the entire thing, these Logia power types seemingly have limitless power. The fire guy will continuously throw fire at you over and over and over. That's true. Luffy, as soon as he gets his gear 2, which honestly, it doesn't make him stronger than the Logia, it just makes him viable. Once he his drawback will then, I personally, and feel free to disagree or not.
Okay.
I feel like these drawbacks in his power aren't to make Luffy a more well-rounded character, but to just draw out the span of One Piece.
That's long as hell. Like.
One Piece is
I
long.
agree with you a little bit on that one
One
because it's
Piece
going on forever.
It's long. It's been going on, like he said, for nearly 20 years, and he just made a statement that it has easily
Like 10
15,
years- yeah,
10 to
15
15 more years. Like, we've only gone through half of this. I started reading One Piece, I think, in high school, and it had already been going on for however long. And I feel like I've invested a lot and seen a lot. And it's mind-blowing thinking that that's so. So I think personally that some of these drawbacks, because like I said, it never actually makes Luffy stronger than your opponent than to bring him back in. He only ever gets viable to fight with them, and then he gets weak again, and now he has to do this whole kind of running away from the
the
enemy,
avoiding,
trying to survive, this and that, all the other, maybe
That
another
literally
character
happens
comes
every
in.
arc.
And then after a cooldown period and he can use his power again, now he gets his equal strength, and then he beats him. So I just feel like it's a stall tactic, really.
Jordan, you got anything on that?
He made a good point.
He just beat your ass. I'm done. Okay.
This is
we'll
why-
see you guys right after these messages.
And this.
All right, welcome back. I know I'm playing musical chairs a little bit. I'm moving around. Now I'm the moderator. So what we're going to be talking about is the NBA. All right. We have Justin, who switched from being moderator to our NBA specialist. And we got Matt, who is going to be our NBA analyst. All right. So what I first want to ask is what's going on in the 2017 year?
What's happening in 2017?
What's happening in the 2017 year?
Go
'Cause I
ahead,
haven't
man. It's
watched
all, it's all you.
I'll start it off, of course. 2017 to me isn't the best year for basketball. But let's go ahead and start off with the standings in the Eastern Conference. I'll go ahead. Boston is number 1, of course, with Kyrie Irving leading the way, leading the charge for them. Then we got Toronto with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, which is actually a huge surprise to me because I literally
Toronto
thought-
got the 2 seed?
Yes, they have
Get
the 2
them.
seed.
That's
right
crazy.
now.
What?
They have the 2 seed right now, and the funniest part about that is you guys don't care at all.
Don't give a fuck.
Don't care at
Act like
all.
I care. I don't give a fuck.
Then we got Cleveland, of course, which is the team to beat, and I feel that that's going to be the powerhouse for. I think everybody pretty much feels the same way. That's going to be the powerhouse in the East, and then we have Washington, John Wall, who really doesn't have too much help right now, I would say, but anybody under that, with maybe Milwaukee. Milwaukee has Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure.
That's Tacumbo.
But he's like third in the MVP race, which I'm actually really excited about. Nice young team, but pretty much anybody under that, we don't care about. You got Ben Simmons, most likely going to be the rookie of the year in the East, but
That's cheating.
yeah, because he's. I do agree with you. That is cheating. He's already been in the. I feel like you should, if you've been in the league for a year and you've been practicing and training with NBA players, and then you come back ready to play again, you shouldn't be in the running.
Now,
for
isn't
the
that
rookie
what
of the
Blake Griffin did?
year. Yes, that's what Blake Griffin
He
did.
cheated
and I
too.
hated him too. For it.
Okay, he cheated a little
He's
bit.
a
All right.
cheater.
So
But
now so that's what's going on in the East, right? So
Yeah.
so what's going on in the West? Because I know a lot's going on in the West.
All right, so over in the West, it's kind of the same as last year, just a little bit different. So of course, Golden State's. I'm pretty sure they're first seed right now. I want to say the Houston would be the second seed. I don't really know. I'm
Yeah,
going off
it's
top of my head. Third seed, I want to say would be San Antonio.
Yep.
And fourth seed, I want to say would be Timberwolves.
Yes, Minnesota.
Timberwolves.
Oh,
So-
that's really good off the
OKC
top of your
right
head.
under. them.
Yeah, so okay, OKC sitting at 5. So the big stories about the West right now is people are really starting to see how Golden State works without like each one superstar. So
Doesn't
we had a
matter.
time frame where KD was out and Curry took over and everything was all good. We had a time when Curry was out and KD took over. The main thing that a lot of people are starting to see nowadays is that as long as Draymond's in there, it low key works because they have Sean Livingston at like the point and everything will be fine with there.
Klay
But
Thompson's still really good.
yeah,
so.
and Klay Thompson's still doing his thing. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. With Houston's different. Houston's a little bit odd because with Chris Paul being in and out the lineup, you can really kind of see how their record fluctuates. So with Chris Paul in there, their record's pretty good. Without him, it's not that great right
Which is
now.
surprising. I didn't think that he would have that type of effect. 2 ball handlers, but
I mean, apparently it works from all that summer league shit they were doing. But so Harden's out for a couple weeks right now. They're doing okay. The Rockets just signed Gerald Green to like a rest of the year contract or whatever. People are getting hyped about that shit. Whatever. That's not nothing. San Antonio's still old. Kawhi is starting to make his way back. He's starting to put those Kawhi numbers up. So and it's surprising if you think about it because he just came back maybe like 2 weeks ago, maybe at most 2 weeks.
That's
And
impressive.
they're still sitting at third
That's
seed.
really
so
impressive.
That's crazy.
It's a system.
The sleeper right now, I think, really is Minnesota. Because if you watch Minnesota, they're not doing anything necessarily. Like, they don't look super duper impressive. Their games, they'll win them by the skin of their teeth. But at the end of the day, Minnesota has the most athletic team. And they actually seem the most durable. I'm not really seeing too many guys missing games. I don't see
they got 48 in a minute.
Jimmy's not missing
Yeah.
nothing. Wiggins not missing nothing.
Yeah.
Cat's not missing nothing. And then low key, they still got Jeff Teague on the team, so they're still out here balling. They're sitting at 4th in the West right now, which says a decent
Okay,
amount.
okay, hold on. Well, that brings up an interesting point. So what you're saying is these teams that are high ranked, they're missing players, but they're still being able to be in these spots, right?
Yeah.
They're still able, first in the West, first in the East. So my question is the regular season mattering this year? Because from the sounds of it, you have a healthy team just sitting here, and they're still at 5th. You have people missing, and they're in the top ranks. So
Yeah.
are you going to see these teams beat these top ranked teams from playing the regular season, or is it going to
I'll
matter?
start it off with that. I have a very opinionated point on that. I feel
This motherfucker.
the regular season does not matter almost at all.
Really?
I honestly feel like these teams, if they sat there and practice, like these super teams, they sat there and practice and just watch game film instead of playing like 82 games. Maybe they play like 23 games and got a couple. They went against the best teams. They would be fine in the playoffs. Like, they would still be in their ranking spots. They would still beat these teams because they're so loaded with these powerful superstars. And it's amazing because like we said, what the Toronto Raptors are in 2nd place right now. But we don't compare their superstars to LeBron James and and Kevin Love. So even though they're below them, nobody cares. Even though the Celtics, we see the Celtics are the number 1 seed. Nobody feels that the Celtics are going to – well, people do feel that the Celtics could beat Cleveland. But I'm saying Isaiah Thomas is on a mission. Y'all shouldn't have traded him. So I don't feel you guys have a chance.
First of all,
Oh, we
don't
got
nobody
some
give no
opposites.
fuck about no IT. Okay,
Oh, when he put
I
30
don't care about
30 on
IT
you.
right now. I need to see more film on him. You got a couple of games. See, all right, okay, they good, cool. It's fucking Cleveland.
Trade my man
The
away.
season matters. The reason why the season matters is because, especially in the Western Conference, you'll have teams that'll dip and dive in the standings. So let's say we go over to the East. Milwaukee will dip down to like damn near the 6th seed because they'll win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1. Like, they'll do that shit all season because they're not super consistent. But at the end of the day, don't nobody want to play Milwaukee. I guarantee you that LeBron James doesn't want to play Milwaukee. If you look, I'm pretty sure they're in the same division. Milwaukee has a decent ass record against Cleveland. Now, albeit Cleveland may not have that full powerhouse of a team, but Milwaukee's so young and they're such a wild card that they can get your ass. Brogdon's a decent ass player. They got a gang of shooters. and you may not be able to outscore Cleveland, but Milwaukee's defense is shitting on Cleveland's defense.
So can I ask you, are you saying that the regular season matters because you're getting it's talking about the better placement for the playoffs?
The regular season
season
matters because of the playoffs. It's all about even on the West. Let's say OKC. OKC is a great example. Okay, let's say OKC had a shitty ass first half of the season and they start getting hot at the end. Don't nobody want to play a hot OKC. You don't want to play a hot Paul George. You don't want to play a hot Melo. Let's say OKC gets that 6th seed. Let's say San Antonio gets that 3rd. San Antonio doesn't want to play them.
But I got a question for you though. How many games will they be hot? Can they be hot for 4 wins?
That's the thing you got to understand though. With a team like OKC,
yeah, everybody has to be on fire.
They don't. That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
If Russ goes in, Russ has 2 hot ass games. If Russ has a hot game, they're more likely gonna win. Switch that off. PG has a hot ass game. They're probably gonna win.
To beat the Warriors.
I'm not talking about the Warriors though. I'm not talking about the Warriors though.
That's not enough to beat the Rockets.
I'm not talking about the Warriors though. I'm not talking about the Warriors though. We're talking about that. Hold on, let me go. We're talking about that 2-3 seed.
Point. Go ahead.
So on the 3rd seed, San Antonio is probably going to want to avoid that OKC team, right?
So they're not tired,
right? And on the same note, let's say Houston drops. Houston's going to want to avoid that 3rd seed. I really don't see OKC being in the top half of the West. Whoever's on there, and even Golden State. Let's just say something happens where OKC is the 8th seed and Golden State stays the 1. They're not. If they have an opportunity to possibly drop down to the 2nd seed and let Houston get that 1st seed and take on OKC first, it's not necessarily who's going to win, but who do you want to play first? I don't want to play OKC for 7 games the first series.
But
Matt, you got a response to that?
Yeah, I got a response to that because I feel they won't make it to 7 games. Like to beat to beat the Warriors, you have to all be on fire. Because Steph Curry, you saw him put up 45, but a couple days ago, last night, I don't remember what, 45. That alone takes out Carmelo and Paul George. That alone, you got to make up for that. And then you also have to be able to guard Kevin Durant. And then if you can't stop Kevin Durant, you also have to stop Klay Thompson. And then Draymond Green's getting in your head the whole game, and he's D'ing up Carmelo. It's too much. With the Rockets, with the way they're playing, they just outscore you. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. You're not guarding a team that's putting up the same numbers as the Warriors.
So are you saying that the matchup doesn't matter because good teams will always do what good teams do?
They always come to me. The good teams always come through in the playoffs.
But hold on. Take this into consideration though. So it's also about your path to the playoffs. So last year. For the Cavs, no, not even last year. The year before last year. Last year they just swept through. But the year before, it was a big debate as far as who are the Cavs going to play in the playoffs? Because they're not going to want to play this team for 7 games, this team for 7 games, and this team for 7 games. So it's exactly. So for Washington, a team like Washington, they really don't want to worry about that. And I understand you're talking about those top tier teams, but let's talk about a Golden State right now. If Golden State is sitting at that 1 seed and they play that 8 and they're playing a hot OKC, and OKC, let's say they're going to beat them, but let's say OKC takes them to 7 games. Okay, fuck, that's 7 games. Now the next team they play, maybe they play a San Antonio. Maybe Kawhi's on a fucking tear and Kawhi's D'ing everybody to fuck up. Golden State will beat them. That's fine, but you just went 7 games. You got one more. Now you got to play the Rockets. Maybe the Rockets get better at defense. Maybe something happens where you have to play another 7, and then at the end of the day, once you make it to the conference finals, where if LeBron has a cakewalk and they swept all the way through, and that's what happened last year, but flip-flop. The Cavs had a cakewalk, and the Warriors swept their way through. It's going to be tough for that team that just played 3 series of 6 games to play that last.
So can I ask one thing real quick? Sorry. So what we getting at is it because the regular season matters more when it's more competitive? In the division. So the West is really competitive right now.
The West is really competitive. The East not so much, but the West is. If anything, we took everything from the East and put it on the West. So yeah, LeBron will make it to the West. I think Boston or Milwaukee can give him a go. I'm not a big LeBron fan. I don't fuck all y'all, regardless. But
I'm not either.
You
I can't
took
lie.
everything from the East. You took the heart out of the East and you put it in the West. And yeah, it's fine. But at the end of the day, Golden State made their move the year before last year. They made the move last year. Everyone made their moves this year. If things start gelling, the most athletic team is the Timberwolves. If the Timberwolves were to ever gel, if Thibodeau
athleticism
gets,
doesn't beat out scoring.
That's very true.
no, if Thibodeau, if I give anybody that kind of props, a Tibbs with a Jimmy Butler, a Karl Anthony Towns, and a Wiggins.
Now he's gonna beat the Warriors.
All right. Let's get our final thoughts. Let's get our final thoughts. All right, Matt, you go ahead. Justin was going for a little bit. Matt, go ahead, get your final thought. Then Justin, you get a little retort. And
Okay, so my final thought is that basically this season amounts to the West. The top 3 teams in the West, that's the only team I feel like we're really, really debating. Like, yeah, there's a spot there, but I don't feel with the team the Cavs have right now in the East that anybody matches up well against them. They might have Milwaukee Bucks who have that Giannis who can D up LeBron a little bit and also put some points up on him, but there's just too much to worry about. They don't have Brogdon. Brogdon's their point guard right now, or I don't know how well he'll match up with Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose off the bench, J.R. Smith. It seems like a lot to be asking, especially because these teams aren't really playoff teams. They never go really deep into the playoffs, so they don't have that experience. Mm-hmm. But in the West, I'll give you there's a little bit of the toss-up at the top 3 teams. And OKC, I feel like if they don't get out the first round, I don't want to hear any talk about Westbrook not having a team. I don't want to hear it from anybody.
all right. And then Justin, last few words.
So for me, like I said, I really think that the season matters going into the playoffs because it's all about who has the momentum. Another thing we really didn't go over was trade deadlines and stuff like that. So that's also going to kind of move things around. So Milwaukee can make a move. Cleveland can make a move. But at the end of the day, me personally, if I'm talking about Cleveland, you don't know what you're going to get out of Cleveland. I don't know if D-Wade is going to be available at that time. He gets hurt a lot. I don't know if K-Love's going to be available. I don't know if D-Rose is going to be available. Shit,
LeBron will be available.
I know LeBron will be available. But even like IT just came off the injury. You don't know if he'll be available. Yeah, but I think the thing that the East has is that they're not so good. And I guess that bleeds to not being injured. But they're kind of playing with health versus old ass Cavs, and on the West is always going to be a toss up. I'm not really necessarily worried about that 7th or 8th seed unless it is like a big name or whatever. But like a Portland getting in or Pelicans getting in, you even got to think about that. Like if the Pelicans, if Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins just bam and just got something going on and they legit become the Twin Towers. That's something to worry about. Scary. So all these things, they matter. They kind of matter.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that'll wrap up our NBA talk for today. Yeah. We'll come back to you next week with this heated debate. That was good.
We'll see where this season goes.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes. All right, we'll be back.
All right, guys, welcome back to the expansion pack. This segment, we call it the DLC with our good friend Dan here. He's going to be our token white guy of the cast. So Dan, we're going to come to you every week, and we're going to want some knowledge for the Caucasian side of our audience. Okay. And, as us as black folks, we don't necessarily learn all the white things that are going on in the world.
What's the DLC?
DLC is Dan's ludicrous comments.
Oh, okay.
So
I like that.
I'm going to be going off on some white topics. I'm going to go off on current topics, across the seas topics, whatever I think as a white person or my culture is fascinated in, but that is just not really regarded by the rest of the folks out there. Then
and I'm just here to learn. I can't lie.
All right, so Dan, what you got for us today, man?
So today I'm going to start off with probably the most white topic that you probably get into, which would be NASCAR. Which also is known as stock car racing, even though there's nothing stock about them. They go 200 miles per hour. It's no Toyota Camry out there.
Hey, I thought it was the Camrys out there, Dan.
It's just a sticker. It's advertising, as you know. But this year, across the years growing up watching NASCAR, not necessarily basketball or anime. I watched Scooby-Doo, not Yu-Gi-Oh. It kind of lost its popularity. There was definitely a big misconception between rules and everything. It's kind of hard to keep standards when you're going at 200 miles per hour crazy. There's rules, just like a sport. It's considered a sport. It's actually more physically demanding than you know, but it's definitely lost its popularity. And to do that, NASCAR decided that they would let women join because it's mostly a men's sport.
Hold on, so it's chicks driving with guys?
Very few.
How many?
There was 2, now there's 1, and she just retired.
There's chicks driving with guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's actually Wisconsin.
Was she driving with guys?
She was.
Did somebody say?
Oh shit! There wasn't girls driving, like just girls.
No.
I didn't know that.
They did it to kind of spruce
Who-
up the fan
what-
base
what'd you
and
say?
include. It was
What's her name?
Danica Patrick.
Danica Patrick.
Yeah. If you
you're
guys
out
remember
there.
the GoDaddy commercial, she definitely revved my engines. But the new thing now is, of course, Aaron Rodgers. He came back from broken wing bone, and he was single, feeling down, and he decided that he was going to get into the NASCAR game, not in the way you think as far as a sponsorship, but he started actually dating the last remaining woman NASCAR driver.
Last Samurai.
2 weeks after she denounced retirement from it. So he's definitely he knows what he's doing.
Did you hear Aaron Rodgers' comments?
Aaron Rodgers? No, it's kind of like a paparazzi thing.
Yeah,
Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber.
Aaron Rodgers was saying something all along the lines of like, what does this mean for coming back for Green Bay? He's like, I'm not their savior.
No.
I'm their quarterback. And I really agree with Aaron Rodgers. They put so much pressure on this man to lead this team. And
Are you talking about Aaron Rodgers right now?
Th-
We are talking about
Aaron Rodgers.
women driving in NASCAR.
Oh, he brought up Aaron
And I'm
Rodgers.
late on this.
Whoa, whoa.
I'm already late
So-
on this.
so-
he brought up Aaron Rodgers.
He over here actually talking about like legit things. What?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna tie back the thing where Aaron Rodgers in football, people are looking at kind of like the Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson thing, where he's gonna be distracted and the team's gonna tank. Well, I mean, Green Bay kind of sucks without Aaron Rodgers. You can see once he got injured, they lost almost every single game. But in that being said, Danica Patrick, she's retiring. She's now dating American icon Aaron Rodgers from Wisconsin. Doesn't get more white than that.
Yeah.
So they'll be eating cheese together on the next couple of vacations. And, I mean, that's the white news that I know of this week.
Man, how you feel about that?
I feel like that was pretty standard news. I just have a couple questions about NASCAR. Like,
I mean, I can answer that.
Standard
how many
news.
left turns are made every season?
It depends on how deep of a fan you are, because if you look at a track, it's an oval, so technically there's 2 turns. But they're like, oh man, goes down to turn 4. It's like, where's this 4th turn at? Apparently they split the turns in half. I don't know. It's not like a track. They're like, oh, Usain Bolt passes him in turn 3. It's but there's. NASCAR is actually a big thing. You got racing trucks. You got the Busch Series, which is basically like the
They race trucks,
Better
bro.
way.
It-
Oh, like monster trucks or like
no.
like
It's
17 wheelers or 16
No,
wheelers?
actually it's a race
17
car
wheelers.
just with the truck bed in the back.
Oh, I'm thinking,
Oh,
I'm
no.
thinking the semis racing
No,
the shit.
no.
I was
That'd be
like,
dope as
damn,
hell.
That's
Are they hitting left turns too?
well, now you're going from. Now you're going from white news to redneck news, and that's
That's not Dan's specialty.
monster trucks and 2x4s and tractor trailers. I would have to get more in depth than that. I don't have that much knowledge. I would have to visit a couple of nights in the woods camping. But yeah, I mean NASCAR. They have it's a big thing.
Still huge.
You got the Busch League or the Busch Series, which is kind of like the D League for NBA or arena football for NFL.
Oh,
That's what Bush League means.
Busch League is
I thought that
because
was like a
Busch
hunting
is a
league.
beer and everybody drinks beer watching NASCAR. Nope, George Bush. I don't think he's allowed there anymore because all the oil and people they don't want him starting another war out there.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for your information. I do want to say this. From this segment from now on, Matt is no longer allowed to
talk-
be
Get into
a black
stats and
man
stuff on
with
football.
black things because he's not surprised by this. Now I need some.
I
some
was
cooning.
surprised. I was surprised
I
about
need some
Dan
cooning.
telling me earlier about the similarities between NASCAR and astronauts.
Whoa, let's hear that.
Oh God damn it! All right, we'll see. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the expansion pack. This is gonna be our final segment. Got the whole family here. Okay, So what we're gonna talk about now is video game things. Now, in the midst of getting things prepared for this podcast, we had to go to Best Buy. And Best Buy is a very poor place to buy things because it's very expensive there. But while there, we did see a lot of retro like gaming stuff. So like the controllers for PlayStations, they got like the little see-through plastic nowadays or whatever. And
With the little lights.
with the little light, I don't think it got the lights.
It's blue and green. That's the only way you're gonna buy a see-through controller.
It was red. Now,
They
no
had
way.
lights. I had a black see-through.
But also from last year though, we also saw a resurgence of like older video games. So we got that reboot of Crash Bandicoot or whatever.
Fantastic, by the way.
I'm
Hard. It's really hard, but it's a lot of fun.
But yeah, so what are you guys thinking as far as retro gaming? Like, what do you think 2018 is gonna bring us? Are we gonna get more retro stuff? We're gonna get newer stuff? What you guys thinking?
So
That's a good question.
it actually I think it depends on what we're necessarily talking about when it comes to retro gaming, because I think 2017 I think 2017 had retro games kind of because they didn't come out with any new content in 2017.
So there's bullshitting us.
Yeah, damn near. Because think about it. In 2018, we're getting Last of Us 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, that new Spider-Man game.
Monster Hunter.
God of
Yeah,
War.
God of War. Detroit Becomes Human. There's one more. There's a new Dragon Ball Z game coming out.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Yeah, there's a bevy of games coming out. Barely any games came out in 2017. I know. I was
decent games at the end of the year.
dude.
It's Christmas time. That's when they all come out.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
from September all the way up until December, there were a decent amount of AAA games. I mean, there's Battlefront, Destiny 2.
Black man, talking to the damn mic.
Oh, my bad. Excuse me. testing. 1, 2, 3. You know. No, but yeah. So like, there was Battlefront, 2. There's Destiny.
Assassin's Creed.
But the game is solid. They had microtransactions, drama.
I don't mess with those.
But they haven't added them in the game yet. It's 7 weeks later, and
They're
still
gonna
haven't
add them though. So
You
there's
know,
no point to
I'm
you-
sorry. I got a point real quick. I'm sorry. We're all sharing a mic right now. Let me come over here. All right. So
Do you want the mic?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So I think why we see a big resurgence is I honestly feel like the video game companies are kind of messing up with these microtransactions, and I think a lot of people are wanting to go back to the old school because they were made on the premise of we're making video games for fun. We're not making video games for profit. You know what I mean?
I think old games is because that's the hot topic now. You have movies coming out for sequels, remakes of movies like Cinderella or all these other movies that were so old they remade them for like the 19th time. You look at the automotive industry, you have all these old muscle cars coming back and all these old designs of what they used to be. And with the video games, it's easy money. You go through it, you can produce a game while thinking of better ideas later down the road, and you get something on the market, continue to make money, and then also you're held back by technology.
Yeah, I gotta say that, like, speaking from the only remaster that I played over the summer, that Crash Bandicoot remaster, like, it was great. I thought it was. I played that too. I played that as well. But see, that's something else where it's like they didn't come out with a new game, so they literally just made every game that they had ever made
Twice. They did it for PS3 and 4.
Exactly. So it's like
2017 wasn't that great a year.
it wasn't that
Not
great
for
of a
video
year.
games.
Not for video games.
Or life.
I think indie games made a come up in
Cuphead.
2017.
Cuphead was
Cuphead's
good.
been seen as really well, and other games like that have made progress. But if you notice from E3 2017, all the games that they talked about were from E3 2016. So,
But you know what? I've noticed that's a trend that's been happening for a while. Like these days, I really don't get excited for a lot of video games because I've noticed that either A, they turn into flops. I don't know if it's because the developers' ambitions are too high or the publishers are rushing them out for profit. I think when you were talking about, quick, I'll try and jump from his microtransaction over to you, because I've been really interested about that, especially with the state of Destiny is.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like this one guy on Kotaku, it's a website that I love, he was saying that microtransactions are a thing now and they're not going to go because if you're looking at it from the business side,
Makes a lot of
sense. A lot of money.
as investors, they're not happy if the company they've invested into is just making a profit. It needs to show an increase in profit. And microtransactions, like it or not, are huge. For all the people who refuse to buy into them, there is a good amount who do
spend bread.
and they don't just buy into it a little bit, like they spend buku bread. You know what I'm saying? Like it, because essentially microtransactions are gambling. In a game like Destiny, it's random loot. You're paying money into getting some.
But I will say that though, I think that there is starting to be backlash because EA doesn't do it right.
Yes,
because
exactly.
They literally lost money in stocks because of the dumbass microtransactions that they had for
Battlefront.
For Battlefront,
Yeah.
Wasn't
too.
it like you had to play 40 hours just to
Yeah,
get one
exactly.
character?
Right,
It was
so there was,
ridiculous.
and that's the thing. Battlefront 2 had so much hype behind it, and they literally ruined it due to microtransactions.
But see, the thing I want to say about that is I'm one of the assholes that bought NBA Live, and I got
you bought live?
I bought that bitch. I bought it when it was $9.99 at the PlayStation Store. I was gonna buy it when it was 30. I was gonna be really pissed off if I bought it when it was 30. But I bought it when it was $9.99 or whatever. And the thing that
should've
EA
told you how
has
good it
over
was.
2K is the fact that you can really grind for your gear and you can get better gear. Like EA was kind of on top of things where they're buying sponsorships. So like they have Bape. Like they have Bape. They have Louis Vuitton on live.
Right.
You can't do that on 2K. 2K literally can't do that. No. And you don't have to buy that shit.
I got
You
a
can
question
literally
for you,
just
though.
go grind for it.
For NBA Live, do you still? I haven't played it, so do you still? Can people still pay to get like what you were talking about besides grinding?
I don't think you can. I think you can pay. Like it's the same thing like Destiny. You can pay to get enough
Like-
money to buy a crate.
Oh,
and it'll
okay.
Be a random
Which
drop.
that is better.
I'm not 100% positive because I would never in my life pay money to play NBA Live or anything of that nature. But I think they got the same thing where it's just a lot of like loot crates and shit. So you buy a loot crate. The loot crate has 16 things in it, 8 things in it that you could possibly get. And I think it says it doesn't. You can't get duplicates.
Yeah, which I'm actually fine with, of course. Like, if you get a crate, but like, I get on 2K, I start off at a 60, and there's like a 90 dude with like Jordans and T-shirts, and I'm in a
he
brown
bought that
That guy
still.
spent at least $20 to $40 getting to where he is now on two. If you're gonna play 2K online, you have to spend money.
And that's easily over $100 right there. Like the game was what, $59?
Yeah,
the game in
$59.99.
itself, the game in itself is $60. If you're gonna play online and be good, you're either gonna have to spend over 100 hours making your my player decent, or you could take the easy route, which is what I did in 17. I spent bread, got my guy up as high as I could, got my badges and stuff, and then I was ready to go. So, and that's another thing with like actual games now when it comes to like the storytellers and things that we have coming out, or RPGs, things like that, is that now you're not even getting you're getting a full game now. It's not like before where you had to pay to get like the ending of a game, like they did that back in the day. I think now there was one game that did. I can't remember who it was, but somebody
awful.
you had to pay to get the you had to pay to literally get the ending.
I mean,
but
that's what y'all doing with Destiny. That's what the fucking expansion
That
pack
is-
is.
But let us know.
That's what the DLC
The expansion.
is.
Oh,
But see, that's the thing. But that's exactly my point. Is that DLCs now are taking over because you'll have a main story, like in Last of Us, you'll have the main story of Ellie and Joel, and you'll love it. And it's like, wow, this is great. And then about 6 months later, you'll have a story with just Ellie, and you'll figure out how she got bit. You're like, I'm so engrossed in the Last of Us game. I have to figure out how she got bit.
but here,
You know?
that's the thing, though. That's the thing. So thank you, appreciate that. But the thing that I think people are missing about these microtransactions is it's not about microtransactions. It's about how dirty they make you feel. I think that. I think like you said, like, for example, getting a DLC to a game you love feels good because you feel like you're increasing the experience. When you get like NBA 2K18 or something and you buy your clothes or you buy your guy to 99, it just doesn't feel good. Yeah, so I think it's about
get there without it.
Exactly.
That's very true,
That's
and I
the
think it's
problem.
about the quality of the game before the transaction.
My last question for you guys on that topic. When is it okay to have microtransactions? When are microtransactions the least dirty?
I'm glad you asked.
already knew the question.
He was ready.
He's pulling the mic. He was like, I know this.
He was ready. He
Go
was
ahead,
ready.
man.
Okay. So, I mean, like I said, as of late, I've been doing a lot of research. Actually, I bought a book about game development and more or less about that stuff, and it kind of touches on this. And I think a lot of the problems with a lot of games, or the ones that do microtransaction badly, is when it's pay to win. For example, that's what you're saying that the NBA game did. It allowed you to get to a specific level, as well as cosmetics, fast enough so that you could be competitive against other people versus someone else who's actually going to put in not a respectable amount. You know, I think
taking out the skill.
exactly paying to win to a certain degree. Paying to win is not necessarily being able to have, I guess, benefits to help you get somewhere faster. It's a clear line where when you don't buy it, your level of progression is going to be much longer. You know, the time commitment and all of that doesn't necessarily justify the ends. You know, a game where like in Call of Duty did a lot. You know, they'd add, for example, we used to play Modern Warfare 3 a lot. You know, and I think with one of the DLCs they added a gun called the Ripper, which doubled as an SMG and also an assault rifle. The gun was really good. It was arguably a little bit better than the others, but it wasn't so good to the point where if you didn't have that gun, you were going to lose, you know? Right. So in that case, it gave you an advantage, but it wasn't pay to win. You could still easily outgun that gun if you knew what you were doing, if your skills are up to snuff.
And I would say on the newer Call of Duties, with their DLCs, when you purchase them and you do get those better guns, it's not so much where it's like it's a better gun, but you can outgun it. It gets to the point where you damn near can't beat that gun.
One more thing, the ones that do it the best also try and do microtransaction mainly on cosmetics, not things that actually help you in the game, but things that just make you look cooler. Because as a gamer, I want to be the best. I want to be the hottest dude out here.
So I would say that I do agree with that point, but I think also a game that's done really well with their microtransactions is Injustice 2. So if you look at that, like the microtransactions, I believe for that game were just to get like crazy new skins and stuff. But you already had a bunch of the game when you bought it.
You had the whole game.
You pretty much had the whole game. So now, but if you do decide to pay the money, you get cool characters like the Ninja Turtles should be coming out soon. You get Red Hood, Black Manta, you know, Sub-Zero, Raiden. So I think that microtransactions could be good in that case because it's like if you want to expand on the game that you already love and you're willing to do it, I think it's fine. It's the point to where it's like we're going to hold out on what could also be viable content.
Yeah, and I think what it boils down to is it's about having a good quality game, but also the microtransactions don't make paying beat skill. Like skill always skill should always beat skill. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be if I'm an average player, I can beat this excellent player because I paid $20. So that's where I'm feeling.
And man, my old man thing behind it, like especially for fighting games, because I play fighting games more so. I just hate when you have to purchase them, like with characters. Right. So let's say Mortal Kombat, Goro was a DLC, and I think in X or whatever, where you have to buy him. I'm like, man, it'd be really fucking great if I could unlock him. You know what I'm saying? Through playing the game, doing different things. So I mean, it all comes to that. But guys, that's the expansion pack. We're gonna be trying to get stuff to you guys every Sunday around the same time, 7:00. This one ain't coming at 7:00. I'm telling you that right now, it's not. Big shout outs to everybody coming in, putting in the work for it. Shout out to my man Jojo. Jojo, come here, man. Come on.
Get in the camera.
Come on, get in the cameras.
He's
do something silly.
The whole time.
You see that head? Jojo's one of our engineers, one of our producers. Dan Man's our engineer here. He also, White Man Dan does his thing. Swim's going to be giving us some good info. I'm the mastermind. Jordan's the mastermind. Matt's out here giving us good work. And then Roy's also being opinionated.
I just disagree with stuff.
He's an asshole. So again, appreciate you guys watching. Let us know if you guys have any comments, things you think we should talk about, or anything like that. But yeah, that's the episode.
Like, comment, subscribe.
They ain't gonna do that shit. All right, guys, bye. We did it.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. That was our movie review. That's movie 1. Oh yeah.